You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge on a beautiful sunny day in South Carolina. And I live up at right at the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So right now we've got blue skies, a little bit of clouds, but sunshine. And it probably will be about 80-some degrees today. But the rest of North Carolina, up in North Carolina, they're getting hit with a pretty good storm with Hurricane Florence. But I think that by the time it gets to us, we'll probably have about 20, 30 mile an hour winds. At least that's what they're forecasting. I have this map on my computer in my office that shows where it's at the moment, what the strength of the winds are. The problem is that it has slowed down. And when it slows down, that means a lot of rain comes down. And that's when the flooding starts. The floods, what was that in Bible school? We always used to see when the rains come down and the flood comes up. Well, that's kind of what's happening right now. And wouldn't you know it, when I'm doing my podcast, the phone would start to buzz. So, isn't that the way it is, though? The phone never knows when to shut up, huh? So what am I talking to you about this morning? Well, my office is in California, so I'm still a Californian. And I'll be going back to California this next month and start setting up for tax season again. But what I'm really pissed off about this morning is that Gavin Newsom, who is the Democratic candidate for governor, and the current governor, Jerry Brown, are absolute idiots because they're trying to destroy the state of California, and they're pushing it into a socialist state. That's really what they're doing. Gavin Newsom wants to provide health care to all illegal aliens. All illegal aliens. Now at the moment, we have about 700,000 homeless children on the streets. We have the highest population of homeless people in the state of California than any other state in the union. And yet he doesn't think about how much the billions of dollars it's going to cost to support a plan to provide everybody with free health care. California already has the highest taxes, has the highest gas taxes, which hopefully they'll repeal in November. But the problem is that we have these highly liberal socialist candidates in California, and that also control the state house, that keep pushing these dumb things through that is literally going to financially corrupt the system in California. And so I bring this up. Yesterday, Jerry Brown decided to sign a bill out of the state legislature that gives individuals in prisons, in jail, who are convicted felons, the right to vote in jail. Now, whoever thought that a criminal would have his rights being given back to him while he's still in jail? Why don't you just let him do his time and think about it and not give him the luxury to vote? He lost his vote when he committed a crime. This is absolutely ridiculous how California is being destroyed by liberal socialist politics. So to support their policies, their failed corrupt policies, taxes are going to go up more and more and more. Businesses are beginning to move out of California. Then they have been throughout the years, but even more so today. Not only are businesses, but the high-tech industry can no longer afford to operate in Silicon Valley. They just can't do it. It's too expensive. With the workers' compensation, with unemployment, with everything else that they're taxed with, they just can no longer survive in California. So you see them coming to places like here in South Carolina, in Greenville, South Carolina. It's becoming a tech center for the East Coast. Because people in California can no longer survive California. You've got people living on the streets, defecating on the streets, throwing their drug utensils on the street, and yet California thinks that's okay. We're helping. How are they helping? By not taking care of the citizens who are working, who are paying their taxes. They're no longer protected. Because the Democrats in California, especially Gavin Newsom wants to give everything for free. California right now is 45th in the nation in education. 45th. They have a lottery system that is supposed to be paying for their education, but yet they keep raising taxes to pay for education. So much money is wasted on education there. But the reading skills are so low. 45% of kids in schools cannot read. So we have a problem in California that they think that all of these social programs are going to help the state, but it's not. It's driving the real earners out of the state of California. And so those high-paying jobs are being replaced by low-paying jobs. And that never works. So Gavin Newsom is a real threat to the state of California. And if he is put into office, expect more social welfare systems and higher taxes. Because that's what he wants to do. He won't even debate the Republican candidate. Which is so bad because no one knows where he stands. What Gavin Newsom does every single day on all of his Facebook pages and his Twitter is attack President Trump. Now, President Trump has nothing to do with the state of California. He has nothing to do with the homeless people on our streets. He has nothing to do with low numbers in our education system. He has nothing to do with the poverty rate in our state of California, which is the highest of all other states. Trump has nothing to do with that. That has to do with the local politicians and the state politicians that run the state who do not focus on the problem. And instead, they keep adding to the problem. And the burden comes down to the taxpayer. Sick. Sick as can be. So if Gavin Newsom is put into office as governor, that state's going to go belly up, and I'll tell you why. I was talking to an individual yesterday. He says, "You know what? I can't live here anymore. If things do not change on the governor level and on the state level, he just can no longer live in the state of California. The politics have become so corrupt and so burdensome on California citizens that they can no longer support such a corrupt California system." And his fear was, if Gavin Newsom became governor, the whole state would be destroyed. And he's right. It will be destroyed. Californians can no longer sustain such high taxes. They just can't. Their housing costs are the highest. The gas taxes are the highest. The rent is the highest. But yet the jobs that are moving into California are low-paying jobs. There is no manufacturing done in California. Very little. High-tech companies are looking for other states and countries to move to because it's less burdensome, less taxing. When things become so taxing, people don't want to live in that type of environment because it hurts them. It doesn't hurt these California politicians. They don't even care because they have special deals on the side and everything else to make them through. When you go into politics in California, you become very rich. And it's not from their salary. Gavin Newsom was the mayor of San Francisco. He is the one who allowed sanctuary cities to begin. If you want to look at the troubles of sanctuary cities and illegal aliens flowing into California, you have to point straight at Gavin Newsom. If you want to look at a failed city government, look straight at Gavin Newsom. If you want to look at such a liberal, corrupt city of politicians, you have to look at Gavin Newsom. San Francisco is out of control. And it started with Gavin Newsom. It's completely out of control. When you have to get an app on your telephone to walk around San Francisco and not step on poo, there's a problem in that city. And it all points back to Gavin Newsom. Californians can no longer sustain high taxes. They can no longer sustain a corrupt government. They can no longer sustain social welfare systems. They can no longer put up with homeless wandering around their neighborhoods, pooping in their streets, leaving drug paraphernalia all over. California is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you even are considering voting for Gavin Newsom, then your vote puts California closer to failure. There needs to be a change in government. It's gone way too long being corrupt. It's gone way too long with raising taxes after taxes after taxes. It's gone way too long with having governors literally destroying the state. Who ever heard of a felon being allowed to vote in jail, in prison, in county jail? It's ridiculous. And then you have Gavin Newsom, who pushed the sanctuary state law through. That was his whole goal. So, right now, no one in California knows where Gavin Newsom stands on anything except to fund health care for illegal aliens. That's his only plan. And the other thing is that he hates Donald Trump, so he pounds on him every single day. But he never tells anyone what his plans are for the state of California. Because he has none except to raise more taxes. To create it so hard for businesses to survive in California that they have to look for states that are friendlier to their business. So if you vote for Gavin Newsom, you have just taken a hammer and a nail and starting to hammer it shut, the state of California. Californians, we have to work together. We have to walk away, hashtag walk away from Democrats in the state of California. When I write my state senator or my state assemblyman that represents me in Burbank, not one time have I received a letter back. Not one time. We can no longer sustain this type of corrupt politics in California. So you've got to vote Gavin Newsom out. You've got to vote out Democratic Assembly people and Democratic Senate candidates. We have gone too far to the left. And if we don't make change in the people that represent us, we are going to have a problem within the state. Even myself, I'm looking at, do I continue on with California as my business location past 2019? Gut feeling? Probably not. It's probably not the right place to be. And I hate to see people that come in and talk to me that are struggling in California because everything is so high. All the rest of the nation is doing very well. They're surviving, they're getting jobs, they're working, they are paying their taxes, they are spending time with their children. But in California, you can do none of those things because you have to work 2 jobs in order to pay for your monthly rent. So Californians, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to go with the flow and let California get worse off? Or are you going to use your vote to count, to make a difference? Just remember this. Gavin Newsom is a threat to California. Think about your vote very carefully for November. Do you want change, or do you want to continue on with a corrupt California government? That is the question that you have to ask. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. I'll talk with you very, very soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.